All right, welcome to the Data Analyst Show. Join us as we pull back the curtain on all things from latest industry trends to our first-hand experience as data analysts. Whether you're navigating your career or just passionate about data, we've got insight, stories, and tips for you. On today's episode, we'll be talking with Jason Ganz, one of DBT's very own senior managers of developer experience, about Model Context Protocol, or MCP servers for those in the know. Welcome to the show, Jason. We're really excited to chat with you today and to be at the forefront of the discussion on how agentic models can interact with structured data. We're also joined by some additional members of the team. Welcome, Yesi. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep.
Before we jump in, we'd love to do a quick roll call and introduce ourselves and a favorite breakfast food. So, Yesi, why don't you kick us off?
I'm Yesi, a data analyst here at DBT. Favorite breakfast food, hands down, Greek yogurt, Fiore, and granola with lots of fruit.
Oh, down to the brand name and everything. Love it.
Yeah, very specific.
And Paige, how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Paige Berry. I'm a lead data analyst on the data team at DBT Labs. And my favorite breakfast food is actually really similar to Yesi's. It is Greek yogurt, plain, but with honey mixed in, and then a really good, like, nutty granola on top. But if I'm feeling indulgent, it's a croissant.
Ooh, solid.
Yeah.
And Alex?
I am Alex. I'm an analyst on the data team here. I support marketing, and my favorite breakfast food is Greek yogurt. It's so good.
Is this a Fiore ad?
What's going on?
No free advertising.
We got a little honey. I'll switch it up. I'll go with a Monte Cristo sandwich with a big thing of coffee and some fruit on the side.
Love it. Love
That
it.
sounds really good.
Logan, are you trying to lock in our Greek yogurt
I
deal?
don't like Greek yogurt that much. I don't even really like it. I won't eat Greek yogurt. I don't want Greek yogurt. I want like just a big cinnamon roll with a cup of coffee. Like I'm going the opposite end of the spectrum. I feel like Greek yogurt's very healthy. I want to feel terrible for the rest of the day. So doughy, like gooey, cinnamon center, like, and really I'm just working to that center piece of the cinnamon roll. I don't care about the outside, you know? I just want to get in there. It's hot, it's gooey, it's cinnamon, and I feel terrible for eating it. So that's...
Yeah, you work your way.
Yeah.
I go
you
right
gotta
to the
eat
middle
kind of
usually.
around. Really? You pull it out and eat it like a donut
I
after?
do. I can't help
man.
myself.
Alex,
That's
do you eat
crazy.
your pizza like crust first too? Like what's going on here?
No, my dopamine levels can't handle it. I need to go straight for the reward.
To tease with like, oh, I'm gonna eat the outside and then I'm gonna eat the next ring and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah.
I love it. I would say for my favorite breakfast food, probably French toast with sunny side up eggs over the top. You just get like this great like sweet savory thing going on. It's kind of messy, it's kind of fun. And then similar to Logan's, I'd probably need like a nap at like 3 p.m. from the sugar crash, but it's fantastic. And Jason, how about yourself?
I would have to go with an everything bagel, toasted with cream cheese, ox, capers, red onion, tomato. It's the It's the classic for a reason.
So good.
Solid choice. Solid choice. That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for not saying Greek yogurt.
yeah, thank you. I was so worried we're gonna have to.
It's a Greek yogurt-based cream cheese. Did I not specify that, Logan?
If you're hearing this, we would love a partnership.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Jason, thanks again for joining us. For those in our audience that haven't had a chance to read your blog post, would you mind giving us just like a quick, Cliff Notes, explain like on 5 overview of what MCP is and why it's so exciting?
Okay, so let's think about a breakfast here. We're gonna see
yogurt.
if I can land this analogy on the fly.
Amazing.
So you have your structured data in your warehouse. That's the base of your query. Think of it like your Greek yogurt, and then it's nutritious. It's packed with protein. But then you have the sweet, sweet honey of people asking you questions about that data. And what you need,
Pretty good.
what you say, if you were to just go honey onto Greek yogurt, it actually doesn't have a connection. You actually need a way for the honey to interact with the Greek yogurt, and that's where your nuts and berries come in. So let's all together think about the MCP server as a way to connect the yogurt of your data or of tools to the sweet honey of discovering stakeholder insights. I think that
Nice.
That's pretty good. Well done.
Well done. Yeah.
we got like a 4 out of 10 explanation on MCP out of that. So now we can go and give an actual explanation. So first of all, I want to say just like really exciting to be here with one of the coolest teams at DBT Labs and talk about how data analysts can use AI to do interesting work in a way that is hopefully fun and engaging for you. And so I think that the important part of this conversation is we're going to be talking about a lot of technologies and protocols and things like that. But like what I really want to ground this in is the reason we're building the MCP server, the reason that we're building tools and products like this is because I personally have spent my time in the ad hoc query request tunnel, just like digging through it. And
It's the best.
Isn't it? Don't you love doing that, Logan?
It's fantastic. Please don't tell me you have a solution for that because I don't want to go anywhere.
That's our mission statement as the data team.
Yes.
And so
Totally.
I want to start with why, and then we can get into the why. And so the why for this is DBT and data teams build all of you spend a tremendous amount of time and energy building up data sets, and then it's like, okay, we should do something with this. And the something historically, it looks like exploratory data analysis. It looks like dashboards. It looks like different ways to kind of use and structure that data. And then anyone watching this is going to know that a huge amount of toil goes into data assets that might not get used, or like you're not exactly locked in on like, okay, what is the purpose of this? Or you're just like doing like things that feel checkmarky.
Yeah.
When the ChatGPT moment happened and when LLMs came out, one of the things that was immediately clear is that I'm sure you've all done, and you could go around and list it, a favorite analysis or a favorite data set that you built that you think is actually really impactful, but like just kind of got lost, right? It kind of just got like lost.
Absolutely. That's like,
Heartbreaking.
my
This
God.
is like nightmare fodder. So sad.
if I had a nickel for like every time, like, yeah, I think I have a script somewhere for that. I feel like I've answered this before, and I just can't find it.
It happens all the time, and it's because there's this. There are both like a tremendous number of questions that the business asks, and also like not that many questions that business asks, and so it's like there's a lot of things that come up, and you feel like you're like it's like clockwork. Like I cannot possibly believe that I'm answering this question again. Like this is off like behind some link somewhere. The thing that we have to recognize is for us, when we're very close to it, we're like, oh yeah, of course, if you just go to this folder and go to this dashboard and then go to this pane, you can look at this number. And then if you are kind of like someone that has high context and you are literate on this data, then that answers your question. But I just listed like 15 ifs. And so
Jason, I just want to say, like, thank you. I feel so seen with how you're describing our pain.
Yes.
Like, if there's ever like a data analyst like union or like we need someone to lobby, like, can it be you? Like, if you understand us so well, the pain that we're going through so well. It's amazing.
It's like work therapy.
Yeah, healing our data trauma.
Yeah.
no, but it's real because like you all do so much brilliant work, but then the question is like, so what do we do with that? And I think that like before we even got into questions about AI, there was this widespread conversation in the industry where like it feels like we're doing so much work, and then like oftentimes it's like, okay, but like what's actually coming out of that? And then so at the same time, you can imagine it if the organization actually knew about all of the stuff that you were doing, if it was actually able to synthesize it and metabolize it, then there's probably a lot of things that would be happening differently. But the work required to socialize that, to get that up in every discussion that you all aren't in, to get that out there, it's so high, right?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
So high.
So about once a week, this is true. About once a week after ChatGPT came out, I would go and I would type in what was my revenue last week or last quarter.
Yeah.
Do you know what it said every time?
Probably something completely made up.
It said I have no idea. I can't like why I don't know what your revenue is, Jason. Why are you asking me this question?
Very smart.
I'm ChatGPT. But every week I would go back there, and I would do that because it's so obvious that there is a place to play for these systems in provisioning access to data.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That makes a ton of sense. It's so, I think it's such a powerful thing too with the DBT framework and how we provide a lot of documentation and structure around our data. So it sounds like this is the point we're getting to is that this is going to kind of bridge that gap.
Yes, because one day recently, I was able to go to an LLM and ask it what was my revenue last quarter. And instead of saying, Jason, how dare you ask me that question? I have no idea. It was instead
The sense
able
of John
to say,
Travolta meme.
What data?
oh my God, yes, very good. We have to make that. Instead was able to say, I have been provisioned access to your DBT project, and there's a number of things I can do with it. I can discover what models are available in it. I can actually run it. I can execute DBT commands, and I can query it via the semantic layer or via text to SQL. And so all of a sudden, like we had all of this incredible data that has been created and locked up in the DBT project, and we have all this power and flexibility of LLMs, and then we had, getting back to our walnuts and berries, the connector between them. And that's what MCP does, is MCP allows you to connect LLM systems like ChatGPT, like Claude, like Cursor, a data source it allows you to run tools. So it doesn't just allow you to connect to data. Think of it like an API layer for large
I love
language
that.
models
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
It feels like so opportune and poignant. This was definitely something at a prior company I was trying to stand up in like a very bootleg bubblegum and duct tape way, where I was like, let me like download the file tree structure of my DBT project and let me like take all those YAML files and like cram it into some custom like GPT agent and give it all these instructions and like don't hallucinate and like this is how things are related. And it was just so much manual work. And then any time our DBT project was actually updated, we'd have to like redo that whole process. But it's nice that there's like a first class support and protocol now to actually handle that and not have to do it this like bubblegum and duct tape way.
Wait, Chris, you already built this whole thing and you're just now bringing that up?
No,
Just
this was manual, like,
happenstance, yeah.
Yeah.
like it was like a thought that I had for our company because we were trying to solve this issue of like self-serve across the business where we were getting all these like ad hoc requests. Like, boy, it would be nice if we could enable our users to just ask GPT this. But it was like extremely manual, extremely painful. It was ripe for hallucinations. It didn't have the rich context and understanding of like metrics that are defined. It didn't like we didn't have a semantic layer set up. So it didn't know what like common dimensions and entities were. It was very bad. It was like Tony Stark in a
More
cave
of
with like a couple of
cottage
things.
cheese
Yeah.
Cottage cheese.
with like a little maple syrup in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, I want to try that. That doesn't sound too bad. Sounds
I'm
weird.
I'm a
There
cottage
was
cheese
no
apologist.
API calls. It was all cottage cheese, and it was close to being rancid. It was bad.
Oh no.
Well,
That sounds
but
fantastic.
you bring up like a pretty important point, actually, which is one of the reasons that I believe that this is an important use case is because this is the kind of thing that people keep coming up to me and tell me that they have kind of hacky versions of internally. In the same way, actually, like we joke a lot about how there are so many people that come up and say, oh, like X company in the mid 2010s, I built like a thing that was like DBT. And then I was so happy when I found DBT. I was like, oh, thank God, I can use that. So like this is a thing that people obviously want because we see so many different people out there doing things like what you did to build these implementations. But now via the DBT MCP server, we actually have a way to do this in a standardized way? I see Paige nodding. Paige, I feel like you have seen this story play out in a couple different ways. What are your thoughts on this, Paige?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely was one of the people who kind of built sort of my own really hacky version of DBT before I knew DBT existed, and was so excited when I discovered it. 'Cause like, yes, that's what I've been trying to do. And so I can absolutely, and I feel like I've seen conversations in the DBT community Slack, in the MCP like channel, about people who are like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I wanted, and now I'm trying to make it work, and it's like, it's so exciting that I actually can use this instead of trying to like work on the thing that I had tried to build myself. So yeah, that same like pattern is coming up, and that's such a like confirmation of what we're doing and how useful it is. And I'm also just thinking a lot about just the question, not the question, the problem, the issue of self-serve data, and how there's like, it's still, there's such a debate about it, and is deep in my heart is this like belief that we are going to someday figure this out. But this is the first time I've really felt like closer to that in a really long time. And I'm so excited about that, because like my whole goal as a data analyst is to empower people to answer their questions, get their questions answered. And the more they can do that themselves, like, it's just a beautiful thing when someone actually like is empowered to get their questions answered themselves. And I'm just excited.
Absolutely.
I have a question, Jason. So one of the things as we've worked through like semantic layer is trying to build like consistent definitions for terms, right? So you brought up like asking ChatGPT, what is my revenue, over and over again, and then getting John Travolta memes over and over again. And so we have this, new accessibility. We have our nuts and berries that we can connect stakeholders to this, but how do we ensure that they're actually getting the right answer? Like if someone's just asking a question, like what are we doing on the DBT side to make sure that the information that is getting passed on is reliable? Because I think to Paige's point, like self-service, great, but there is a little bit of nuance of like, if someone doesn't get all of the different aspects of it, they can miss something, and then they're kind of passing on bad information. And what's to stop ChatGPT or Claude from doing that via this connection as well?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things to talk through here. And I think like the first thing that we need to say is that this is pretty early, and that I think that like really just this year is when these workflows moved from like, there's obvious potential here, and we might like do a hack project, to this is something that we should be actively prototyping and then considering how we move this towards production. And kind of like right now, the most forward-looking data teams, of which I am having the great pleasure to speak to one today, are looking at this and starting to develop the practices. We look at DBT and we're like, oh, DBT has this established set of best practices. The way that the established set of best practices got built was via the hard hands-on implementation and learning the lessons of what actually works well at scale at hundreds of companies. So
Yes.
can give you some thoughts here, but I really like this. The way to answer that question actually is for me and the five of you to spend a whole lot of time implementing this and seeing what works and what doesn't. Because right now we have theories, but what we have here is like, if you are someone that is interested in figuring out how this actually works well at scale, literally this year is the time when we are going to be figuring that out. Like we now have the tools to do that. We don't entirely yet have the practices, but we're going to be working very quickly to write that.
Awesome.
I'm so
Absolutely.
excited.
That's
about
exciting.
that. I want to help with that so much. Yes. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great. So what I'm hearing is I'm not getting fired
wait.
because of MCP.
We
I
have
still
to build
have
our
time.
own destroyer. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Okay, awesome.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's
Chris,
taking
you
over
were...
jobs, MCPs.
Wait,
Yesi,
Yesi, what?
Yesi
Yeah,
had a
Yesi,
question.
what were you gonna say?
In that vein, so Jason, do you see the first adopters of MCP being analysts or more stakeholder type of users?
Good question.
Oh yeah,
Solid question. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a really good question. I think certainly analysts need to use it first and understand it and get comfortable with it. I mean, you all are going to see, first of all, what passes the sniff test, right? And we have ideas about what works, and we have some benchmarks about what works. Like, we have shown that if you use a semantic layer, your questions are going to be answered more accurately. If your models are documented in a way that actually matches the data, your questions are going to be answered more accurately. I imagine the first version of the loop to be something like, we get a pilot of this in place, where there's a certain subset of business questions. It's not going to be all of them at first, but a certain subset of business questions that we feel are well addressable via the MCP and the semantic layer. And then as those questions come in, you all give it a run and see. And then if it's successful, pass it over, and we can open it up for like, I'm a stakeholder. I'm not on the data team, but I like to think of myself as a high context stakeholder. So maybe you all can like let some high context stakeholders in,
totally,
and pilot it with you, and then we can work and collaborate it together. So it's going to be a lot of seeing for like you all watching this really closely, seeing what works and doesn't work, and just getting a sense of the shape of what works.
I almost feel like this reminds me of Alex's quote, I think from episode 1, where it's like, analysts hate unearned conviction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just such a banger of a quote.
Shirts being
But I
printed
almost
today.
imagine,
Yeah, shirts being printed.
check out the swag shop. I almost imagine it's something like in the early dog fooding stages. It's like we set up in a small part of the business, and then it's like a human on the loop where maybe a stakeholder comes, asks a question, they get a number, and it'd be nice if it like spits out the SQL query too as to how it got there. So either the stakeholder can audit it or the analyst can audit it, because we don't want to live in a world where someone goes, asks a question, gets the number, and then all that's under the hood, and then they come to us with like, well, hey, I got 47 for parts shipped this month. Why does the dashboard show like 180 or something? And then as the analyst, I can't like show that work. The biggest thing that we also like love to do as data analysts is number reconciliation, right? And we all love that when two different numbers come out.
I feel like that's a love-hate. That's a love-hate. Sometimes I really love it. Sometimes. But it is, I don't know, I think about our role in here, our responsibility is actually really important, because I think the more we understand and can trust what's going on with the MCP stuff and what it's producing, the more we can convey that to stakeholders. Because I think if we could do it the opposite way too. Like, our influence is really important. If stakeholders are trying it and we come out, we respond with like, well, that's not right, and we seem to like not trust it, or I'm having trouble getting this into words, my idea into words, but it's like, it's important for us to really understand it so we can encourage use and the right kind of use, the trustworthiness of it, because that's a really important feedback loop, I guess. For us.
On that vein, Jason, we would love to see your demo. So maybe some of the folks that are watching can actually see what this workflow would look like, see how MCP looks in action.
I had one other thing I was curious about too, though. Yeah, I think I also want to just ask about at some point, like, how we as data analysts could use this not just for answering questions about metrics and data and stakeholders, but actually use it to understand more about like our DBT projects for when we are building assets off of it, and like understanding what's going on under the hood in our projects for our own knowledge as well.
I have an add-on second part of that question. How does MCP compare to like what we'd use, like the use cases for MCP versus Copilot in that?
These are two perfect questions actually to take us into the quick demo. So what I'll say is, to get a part 2 answer to Yesi's question of how analysts are going to use this, it kind of fits in with the Copilot, and it kind of fits in with how do you use this to understand and explain your DBT project. This tool and the combination of tools around this is actually going to make everyone more capable to engage at different layers, which is exciting. And then it's also like, okay, how do we do that with guardrails? So to that extent, I want to, before I show you a demo of the MCP in action, I want to show you a demo of
Jason's
a-
mixtape.
Oh, there we go.
While I have you all here,
Drop the beat.
There's a very special reason I brought you all here. So I decided to run an experiment the other day. I found an open source data set on climate data with observations across different countries and different days. And so I got that on the Snowflake marketplace, and I was curious what it would look like for me to go from that to a fully modeled semantic layer on that data set using Code Assistant. So this was done.
Wow.
So this was done with Claude Code, but you could imagine using Cursor, you could imagine using Windsurf, you could imagine using OpenAI Codex for this. All of those tools are getting very good. So this was built with those tools and with the DBT MCP server, and specifically. So we can look around the DBT project a little bit, and you can see. It's like, yeah, it looks like a DBT project. I'd be interested to have everyone go in and roast this and like see what's missing and what's not there. But so this took me about 90 minutes, and it was pretty good. And we got
That's
all
amazing.
the way.
That's pretty fast to
Wow.
go from open source data set to having a pretty robust repo set up.
Goosebumps.
We got all the way to a modeled semantic layer, yeah, in about 90 minutes, and you can see Jason and Claude. There was still a lot of domain expertise required in building this. Actually, one of the things I'm interested in working on with you all is like releasing like our cursor rules and our Claude rules for things like after you do updates to a model, you should run it and validate the data. Then it matches your assumptions and things like that. And the other thing is, look, this was done on a toy-sized project.
Sure.
You all are working with hundreds of data sources and hundreds of tables. But I think that I did not write a single line of code for this. This was all done via the tooling and the MCP. And so I think one stage of this is going to be allowing us to take, when we do find an analysis and we see, oh, we're missing a metric, oh, we need an additional model, to make it just a lot easier for you all to get in there and get in the mix. So I actually don't know if you all know this. My background is as a non-technical data analyst. I started in Google Analytics, and then I worked my way into SQL and worked my way into DBT. So like just realizing how tools like this like allowed me to do more of my data work and seeing things like that, it just gets me excited.
So exciting.
Okay, so
It's incredible.
So that's the first half, which is the production layer, or how it integrates with Copilot. But then I go and, oh wait, I need to switch my window real quick. Anyone wants to tell a joke while I'm switching over to Claude? You have about 15 more seconds.
Logan.
What do you call a guy with
a colleague guy with what?
a rubber toe?
What do you call?
I don't know.
Roberto.
Nice. All right. But
All right,
Laji,
I'll see
cut that
myself
out.
out.
Don't put that. Don't make that live.
Got it out.
Can you all see my screen here now? Can you see
Yeah.
Claude?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So we are here in the DBT Labs Anthropic organization. So one thing to know is, it's important to be very deliberate with how you do data access here. We're working on a toy data set, of course, but you always want to make sure you're doing this inside governed environments and that you have proper kind of governance and tooling set up. But so I can go in and I could do any conversation I normally have, but I can also say like things like, let's just see what tools do you have available in the DBT MCP server. So what can I do with this? So it's going to go. Oh no!
Oh,
Classic.
this is how live
Live
demos go,
demos.
Jason. You should know that by now. They don't work.
Honestly, this is accurate. This is so accurate.
Yeah, we should leave this in.
Yeah.
We'll see if it ends up working on the second time, or if we leave it.
It's like if cooking shows were real. It's like, and tune in after the commercial break to realize I did 45 minutes of prep work for this cake just to realize I don't have eggs.
Well, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
All right.
Whoa.
Oh,
Okay,
this is
all right, so Jason, what's
cool.
going on here?
What? This is amazing. Yeah.
So what we have here are all of the tools that I have configured my MCP to do. And these are broken down right now into 3 broad categories. So first, there's DBT commands. So this lets you do things like run your DBT project, do a build, run your tests. This is more useful typically in the dev flow. So this is configured on top of the project I showed you before. So, we can just start things off by doing a DBT run. You probably will not want your stakeholders doing DBT runs, but this can...
Please.
That's what you think.
Please, no. Please. But,
Absolutely not, yeah.
No, it's nice to know it's possible.
And see here, it's getting creative with us. It's adding in selector marts.
Oh.
I didn't ask it to do that. So, it ran all of our marts, which honestly was great for the demo. But this goes to why it's important to have guardrails. Particularly for these ones where you're actually doing things that can affect your database. You can imagine you want to be very, very cognizant about how you're doing this. But okay, so let's just see what models we have available in this project, because I didn't actually do a very good job explaining to you all what models we have. What?
And to be clear, like these are tools that you created for it. So like you don't necessarily have to give it the developer command tools.
Oh yeah, so you can specify which of these you want enabled and not enabled
Got it.
Nice.
in a
That's
given
nice.
implementation.
Okay, cool. Phew. Oh, this is so cool.
Whoa.
So we'll just list out all of the oh my goodness. It'll list out all of the models and explain what they are. Oh my gosh, this
Wow,
is
that's amazing.
Wow. I'm just immediately thinking about how useful this could be. Wow.
And you can imagine doing this for a large project, being like, hey, like what models do I have available that like have to do with my like web session data or something like that.
Yes.
And getting that there. And, it's important to have a well-organized project underneath it, which actually makes this possible. But then it can be a really powerful tool for data discovery. Okay, let's find out a little bit. Which model do we want to know more about?
Give me the
Forecasts.
weather forecast, yeah. Should I
Yeah,
wear shorts
everyone
or
wants forecasts.
jacket?
Right.
Tell me about the heat dome, Jason. It's hot.
I'm
When will it
experiencing
stop?
that today here in New York City. You show me the detail.
Cold and cloudy in Portland.
Man.
Come visit.
Live it up,
meet,
Paige.
Meet the cats.
You have a DBT meetup coming up, don't you?
Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow is a DBT
Quick
meetup
plug.
in Portland.
This
Oh, but probably not when we release this. It will be in the past.
It will
Shoot,
be in the
right.
Like
past,
June
but
26th. So
June
not actually
26th.
tomorrow when you're listening
Right.
to this.
If you're
show up.
listening to this, just think about how you can hang out with people like the hosts of this awesome podcast that I have been invited to join, and go hang out at your local DBT meetup.
That's right.
Okay, so here we have, it gives you some information about the model. So this is, relatively similar to what you'd find in DBT catalog, but accessible via kind of a flexible interface. So you can see, okay, here's what it's for, here's what database it's in, here's what it's doing. It gets, and this is really important, it actually gets a list of all the columns. So this is useful in terms of getting its writing accurate queries, because you want to actually know what columns are available in which model. And then maybe we want to see the data.
Nice.
So it's like you read the...
I love this model is perfect for section. It's something I try to do
Yeah.
for the documentation of the models I build, but it can be really difficult to think of all the use cases, and that's so valuable.
Yeah, and like I think some of these are going to be good and some of these are going to be bad, and so like this is the exact kind of thing where you all fit in, where you could, if you're documenting a model, you could say, hey, generate the documentation for this, and probably 5 of them, if it generates 10, 5 to 8 will be like, yeah, that's exactly right. Maybe a couple need tweaking and a couple might be a bit off, and then so it's like, you end up getting great ideas. There's some pruning and oversight required, and then you get your
It feels like as DBT has evolved over the 3 years that I've been here, like documentation has become more and more and more of a vital part of building your DBT project, right? Like we had docs generate, and we kind of had like our little docs page that you would get, which was sweet. And then as we've moved into catalog and exposing documentation to more people, like it is even more important that we're documenting our columns, our models, everything that we're building. And then everything you're showing here, like if we're going to be asking questions of AI and asking it to provide us insights or numbers or whatever it be, it feels even more vital that we are really clearly documenting things and helping it to understand, like, what is the business context behind this? How is this built? Why would you use this? And how would you use this to avoid, right? Like weird numbers being given out or confusing results. Like the onus will be on us building this to make sure that there is a clear understanding of how to navigate all this, rather than just like, here's a bunch of models, figure out what's going on.
And we can use AI to do that, right?
True.
Build out the documentation.
Alex, don't give them ideas. We are writing the documentation. Come on, what am I supposed to do?
Well, Logan, like this is actually this is a really important point. This is a really
it is.
All right.
We were talking about this. I was talking to Marco, who's on our Semantic Layer team, about this the other day, and we'll do the Semantic Layer demo yet. And I was like all excited about the fact that I had like been able to use use the LLM to write metrics for this project. And then he looked at me and he was like, Jason, the hard part of implementing a Semantic Layer is not writing the actual metrics, which I think that is like part of the hard part of it. The hard part is like getting the business to define what's important. I think that they're both hard parts, and now we've taken like we can make one of the hard parts substantially easier. But like the hard part of getting the business to decide on what is important is it's like there are things that we can do. You have transcripts of our meetings so we remember what is actually discussed, but that is still a problem that requires tremendous amount of technical insight, interpersonal insight, like business context, all of the things that you all have so much of. Like most organizations, there are many organizations that have not implemented things like this, and this will allow us to do more. But there's tremendous work to do to get there, and like it does not become trivial to do it. It actually might just make it like, I don't know, what's the old stat about what percentage of data initiatives fail? Like, let's just use this to do data initiatives and have them be successful.
Totally.
Yes, this is like motivation for doing this work taking this more seriously, which is really valuable.
It also, like, I love what you just said, because it kind of elucidates what the analyst role will evolve to as we like go deeper and deeper into AI. And it seems like the trend is just all about advisorship.
Yeah,
that's the exact point I was going to make too, Alex, is like we talk a lot about on our team, like our data team should be trusted advisors to our stakeholders. This allows us to step away from some of maybe the more tedious things, like building a bunch of documentation that may take us hours, and streamline it. And then we can focus more on actually giving good advice, solid advice to our stakeholders, helping build things out, helping drive decisions rather than spending our time here.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Okay. So we talked about Semantic Layer. I want to do the Semantic Layer demo before we wrap up the demo. So here we have the different metrics that we've built out here. And so who wants to give a lightning explanation of the Semantic Layer and why it's important? I might call on Paige, because I know Paige was an early Transform user.
I think Paige is the best to do it.
Agreed.
What exactly was the question? Sorry, I was reading the screen.
Oh, what's the Semantic Layer?
Yeah. So the semantic layer is a way to define metrics in sort of a single place with a like trusted, governed definitions. Once all the people involved have decided on what that definition is, and so you are when you're using the semantic layer, you can create the definition for like revenue, and then then you don't have to worry about other people kind of coming up with their own, like, I calculate revenue like this, or I calculate revenue like that. Instead, it's like we calculate revenue as a company by the definition we have in the semantic layer. So if you're wanting to query revenue, this is where you get it, and then everyone has the same number. Everyone agrees on what revenue means for the company.
Yes. Yes. And so that is something that is very valuable in general, but it's so valuable when applied to semantic layers, because now, say I have 100 people at my company looking at temperature data. They're all querying, and they're saying, can you give me country by temperature by quarter? What's country by quarter?
Cue John Travolta meme.
Don't you love typing in front of an audience?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing. Not.
And this is one where there's still things to work out at the prompting layer, like the order in which we run these. But okay, so what it's doing now is it's saying we have this metric at average temperature in Fahrenheit, and so we have location country available as a dimension for that. So then it's going to go and query, and it looks like there's some sort of interesting wonky thing that happened here, but it's working through it, and here we go.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
And it even does like helpful annotations like Q2. It's hot in Australia. Oh, that's because it's their summer.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's doing the flags.
Oh, I like it.
I love the
Isn't it so
personality.
cute? It gives us it gives us some key observations.
Key observations. Oh, love.
Okay. I am going to wrap the demo for now. What do you all think?
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
so exciting to see the way it interacts with data, and like again, like even those like annotations and stuff, it also just feels like it makes the data feel more accessible and like conversational than just like a cold like table that gets spit out.
Definitely. I don't know. It's just really prompting a lot of like fun ideas, and it's really fun to see it in action. And it's giving me ideas about how like our stakeholders could use this, and then ways that I could support that usage and verify results. It's like really cool to understand what this looks like.
No, this is great. I think a lot of times when I think of like using AI, I see it, and I think you kind of preface this at the beginning of the call, Jason, of like, it gives us an opportunity to kind of alleviate some of the tedium that we're doing and like really get into deeper things. And this having an interface where our stakeholders can ask questions and quickly get an answer that is consumable to them, as we were saying, right? It's very conversational. They can take it and they can move on, and they can make kind of the basic decisions, and we can work on those kind of meatier, deeper analyses. And it allows us to do the things that I would say probably all of us are a lot more excited to do as well. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yesi, what did you think?
Okay. Yeah.
I have a ton of questions, it's a lot of ideas. So just thinking, like we've talked about some of the things that we're already doing as analysts within DBT with semantic layer that would aid in this, but we haven't talked about, I'm like curious about anything new that we're not doing today that we would need to do to support this, aside from stakeholder enablement and like that, but any technical aspects?
It's a really good question. So this can operate on top of any DBT project that is able to run the semantic layer, and you can get it going. I think that like what you see with AI projects is there's a big gulf between great demo and something that's valuable in practice. So one of the other things is it's a very small data set. When we run this on internal analytics, as I'm excited for you all to do soon, it's a little more complicated doing context management when you're not dealing with 7 models, but you're dealing with, I can't remember, I'm sure one of you can tell me how many models we have in our DBT project.
Too many.
Yeah. It's over 2,000, I think, at least that much.
It's a lot harder to know which metrics to query, where to start. It's, this works great in a very, very well-defined environment right now. And we all can and will figure out how to make it work and scale. But there's a lot to do in terms of getting this ready to be a thing that is actually moving the needle for data teams and businesses. I think that we are at the stage right now where, and there are companies that are there. And so it's just like, it's a matter of like any big project, taking the time, taking the effort, and like any new thing, learning what works and what doesn't, and what's kind of unique value add for your organization.
That's so on brand with like everything data analytics, data science. Like for all of those listening, you can't just like use this as a panacea to solve all your problems, right? You definitely need to do the work to have some well-defined things, well-defined environments.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that as like starting with what is a well-defined use case or area of, even like our particular project's DAG, like, all right, what if we just say, okay, we're just going to use like this set of models or this DAG, and we're just going to, have people work with this chunk and start small and kind of defined and go from there and iterate. It's actually kind of really exciting. I think for me personally, I'm excited to have stakeholders use this more almost to understand better what questions they're actually trying to ask, because sometimes that's the hardest part of understanding what people need to know.
Well, Jason, just be mindful of time. Would love to also hear any questions that you have for us. We've done, I feel like we kind of just put you in the hot seat on a ton of questions your way. The demo was very exciting.
Yes.
Is there anything that you're curious to hear from us?
I really want to make this a thing that is useful for all of you. Useful for all of you and makes you excited to do your job. And I recognize that with AI, there can be concerns or fear. I think that we all have like complicated feelings about this.
Sure.
First of all, how do you feel about this? And what would make you feel like this was a tool that was being built to make you personally successful and have a great impact in your role?
I have a few thoughts, certainly, but Yesi, I want to turn it over to you. Do you have any thoughts about just like your initial impressions or how you feel about it?
Definitely. Well, I focus on go-to-market alongside Logan here, so partner in crime. And so my first thoughts around this is one of the areas where I've always felt like it's really hard to serve as a go-to-market analyst is the field. So there's always more sales reps than there are analysts. And typically the big questions come from our executive leaderships, right? So folks leading the organization. And so it would be amazing where I envision this as being a big kind of the low-hanging fruit within go-to-market would be putting this in the hands of our field reps. They're asking usually descriptive questions around their accounts, right? And so I just really want, sort of to Paige's point, like creating a scope where we could focus and really get good at. And I'm very curious about what's like the next step and like what would that look like? How do we, even if I have 10, 15 questions that I wanted every sales rep to be able to answer, and they'll have different cuts of that. So like they might say like, tell me what pages have people been, which account, like Paige, et cetera. So like I'm just sort of curious what the next steps are to get us there.
Absolutely. I think that makes a ton of sense. I don't support go-to-market at DBT, but have in prior organizations, and there's always so many different like cuts and dimensions and like just slight tweaks to the same metrics that people are interested in. So I think it makes a lot of sense with wanting to understand what, flexibility is around the corner and how we can get there.
Yeah.
I think for me, something that would make me excited to use it is just making sure it's something that's auditable. I think I would hate using a tool that is like easy to use, but it's just a pain to actually audit and like make sure it's giving good answers. I think for me, if it's just like this magic 8-ball, effectively, I would probably have pretty strong reluctance to even like spend the time rolling it out. Because that would mean it runs the risk of being another Pandora's box of us being flooded with all these questions as to why people are getting different numbers or different things that don't match up. So if we could make sure that this is like just easy to audit and easy for me to give like a quick PR review, if you will, that would be fantastic. And then I think that would give me the confidence to give it that quote unquote earned conviction.
Yeah. I really plus that. I'm thinking Slack emoji. Plus. Yeah, definitely auditable. And it makes me think too, like, is there a way to even capture, like, what's going on in these sessions, what people are asking, the SQL being used maybe to answer the questions, and then the results just for that auditing, but also now I'm thinking about, is there a way to capture what people are asking in general so that we, as data analysts, get information around the kinds of questions people in our organization
Right.
are asking and trying
And, like,
to
maybe that
understand.
helps us roadmap where it's like, hey, like,
Yes!
actually, this is a repeat question. Like, this
Yes.
should be a defined, managed metric.
Yeah. Like overall, Ganz, Jason, I'm thinking about like when you asked what would make us excited, is thinking for me, like what about this could benefit us and make our jobs easier as well as benefiting our stakeholders. And those are some of the things I'm thinking of.
But that begs a different question, right? With the AI models and their nature, like how consistent can we expect the AI? Like if a question gets asked, will be consistently answered. And so it's just. But to Jason's point, I'm sure it's about playing around and trying it and being iterative.
For me, I feel like broadly, like, agree, big plus one, what everyone else said already. When I think about it immediately, I could use it to like understand our models, like we already showed in the demo, and like understand of our thousands of models, which ones are applicable here. Can you build this query for me and like join these together in a way to serve my purpose? And then the other part of it that is also exciting, maybe further out, is when we pass this off to the stakeholders and we're more the like managers of this. I think it'll be cool to see how we could provide personalized experiences to different people or different groups of people based on like what role they have or something.
Yeah, really cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's exciting. I think the thing that I think of the most is the point that Chris made, right? The auditability of just being able to make sure what we're giving people, we can check. There isn't like this logical black box, and then like being able to see the output of how are people interacting with this and how can we better serve them from our perspective and our roles as well. But I think it looks great. I mean, I'm super excited to get in and be a guinea pig for you, Ganz.
Dude, I'm playing
Absolutely.
with it now. Been like jumping in there on the side, and it's blowing my mind. I asked it a question about marketing funnels. I was like, how would you go about building a marketing funnel? It listed out top of funnel, broken down by channel, our different models, then middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, did the same. It was like, here's the recommended approach for these joins, and it spit out like 6 queries for me. I'm gonna dig into this hard after this video is over.
That's
I
exciting.
feel like I could, I would like to understand all that too. It's an area I don't know much about our marketing funnels. I'd be fascinated to learn more.
Okay, so this is all so awesome, Alex. I'm very happy you're getting there. Paige, you just brought up a huge other point that we didn't touch on, which is this will just enable one of the great things about AI is like it helps you like get up to speed in like adjacencies way easier. So like you all are like the deep areas on specific aspects of the business, but then it's just like it's too big for any one person to fit in our brain, and so this will just be able to like help you like really really rapidly expand and like do kind of like, and like obviously it's one company, right? So it's like, people work in different departments because we have to, but actually being able to have that cross view.
Totally.
Oh
Okay.
gosh, yes. Yeah,
Yes.
that's huge. Yes.
As a remote first company, I spend so much time like trying to find people's secret Zoom video recording links and like consolidate
totally.
all of this. And it's so hard to do that and like formalize that at a big org like ours that's growing. So maybe this is like the Trojan horse to actually doing that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Yesi, for joining. Thank you, Jason, for joining. It was lovely to have you all on the show.
Yes.
As always, folks, please tune in next time for our next episode, and we will make sure to link Jason's blog post on MCP servers with the posting here, so y'all can get read on some of the more technical details and see another demo as well.
And
Thanks, all.
come out to the DBT community Slack. There's a DBT MCP channel where we all hang out. Shoot me a message there. Shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Come on out to a DBT meetup. Tons of ways to get involved here. This was awesome. Thank you all for doing the work that you're doing at the forefront of this stuff, and thank you to our listeners for being engaged with this. Really, really, really exciting times.
Yeah. Thanks, listeners.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.
And listeners.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, everyone. That was fun.
Awesome.
I thought it was a joke
shoot.
ending every time. I was like, we should just say at the end of every episode, "Sleep tight, sweet data babies."
Oh,
So
yes. Actually, I really do love that. We should totally
we
do
definitely
that.
need to do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, you just said it, so hopefully we can
And
edit
then
that in.
maybe you can cut that in.
Please.
All right, sleep tight, my little data babies.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I love it so much.
This show is brought to you by DBT. DBT is the industry standard for data transformation. It allows your team to prepare data for analysis in a way that's centralized, modular, and entirely open, all inside your cloud data platform. The outcome? Consistently dependable analytics for your organization. Now, the DBT community was built for and by data pros. Come hang out and transform with 70,000 of the brightest analytics engineers, data analysts, and data scientists in the world. With DBT, you transform your data. With the DBT community, you transform your data career.